This is a long overdue dust collection upgrade for my shop. Let's get this thing unloaded and get it put together. I'm upgrading to an Oneida 5 horsepower Gorilla Pro with Smart Boost. We're going to talk about all that stuff in a second, but let me show you what I have in the shop right now that I'm upgrading from. This is a 2 horsepower Grizzly. It's a single stage. I converted it to a double stage with a Oneida Super Dust Deputy. It was a game changer in the shop. I did this probably 9 years ago, and once again, it is time to upgrade, and I'm going to show you the rest of this, and it comes out here. I did not clean my shop before this, so don't be judgy. Comes around here and goes to the joiner and planer off of one. Blast gates over here. Take a little step back. This is what I just sweep up the shop with, vacuum it up with Dust Deputy 2.5 with a nice shop vac. You come over here. This is going to be for a flattening jig that's going to go on this table. This here is a sander and a sanding table. You can see the pipes going down there. That sanding table works really well. And I have a small one coming off of here, which I'm hoping that Smart Boost will make it better. And then the Dust Deputy comes around here and goes right here and helps out a lot. As you can see, it comes down and comes across the floor, tripping hazard, and then comes over here into the router table and into the table saw. We're going to pay attention to this here in a little bit. 2 band saws, the big dust collector's hooked up to both of them, and then I have another shop vac with an Oneida Low Pro going to those. This works fantastic. I did a video on this. I'll link it below. And then it comes around to the miter saw station. There's a pipe right there. There's a blast gate right behind that, kind of inconvenient. And another Low Pro shop vac. And when you hit this button, it comes on. And to be honest, I really just use that most of the time. I don't use the big dust collector, but I think we're going to test it here. And then after 70 feet of pipe, we have the CNC machine, and we'll test it here also. And we'll also test it at the table saw. We'll come over to the lathe real quick. I don't have big dust collection coming to this now, but I have another Low Pro. See the theme going on? Another Low Pro, and it's hooked to a bed. Very nice. The table saw is the main reason I wanted to upgrade the dust collector. As you can see, where the pipe's at, it's clean. Everything else gets stuck in there. I cut resin and wood pin blanks once a week, and I have to do this every time. I realize that table saws just are going to have this problem, but the first thing we need to do is fix the airflow. I'm taking CFM readings at these tools, the CNC, the miter saw station, and the table saw, just so we can see a before and after. Anemometers are cool because you get to make upgrades and then you get to see what the difference is, even if you're just modifying what you have. So now let's see what we can make better. Before I took the dust collector apart, got it out of there, I opened every blast gate while it was running just to get as much dirt out as I could, and I'm going to redo it with the new one. We also took a quick little decibel reading. This is just an app on your iPad or phone. It tells you what it is, and we're going to do that with the new one too. I've showed you my old system. I've checked the CFMs on where we want to check it. So now it's just time to clean this thing up. It's time for me to start getting everything out of these boxes. It's nice and neatly packed, super efficient. I'm just waiting for my daughter to get here. Jackie! Did you say, what's up, killer? What's wrong with you? We're just getting all these boxes open, and we're looking for the one that says open first, and that would be the one that we open last. So we're down to this box. This was at the bottom of that. It says open this first, instruction manual, owner's manual, and stuff. But I think importantly, we're gonna have the dust entry on this. And there's a piece of cardboard down there, and I think that's to keep the reflection off so it doesn't mess up that dust entry. It says do not remove. I think it's probably pretty important. In that last box we opened, the ductwork installation guide, the owner's manual, and a thingy saying, thank you for buying Oneida Air Systems Dust Collector, proudly made in America. You know what else is made in America? You. The directions for this are very clear, so I'm just going to hit the hot spots. The stand is only going to be different depending on which barrels you have. So I have the tall barrel, so I had to put the legs in a certain configuration. And then the seals, it's clearly stated in the directions which way the seals go on. You don't want any air leaks, go ahead and cut it a little bit long and then smash it over there and get it to not have any leaks.
Okay, let's set it down for a second.
Watch Jackie's finger. Hey, got your finger. Now we're to the part that I was worried about the whole time. Getting the motor on top of this. Some people climb a ladder with a 100-pound motor. Some people hook up chains and make mechanisms to put it up there. But me and Jackie, being I'm 5'6" and she's 5'2", that just wasn't going to be in the cards. So I went ahead and just put this thing back down, put the motor on it and everything while we were down. We put that wood against the walls so the unit wouldn't slide, and we just used some brute force and some old man noises.
Come on, go. Whew. Why don't everybody do it like that?
The only thing I was worried about was those front legs bending, but it didn't happen to us. But keep that in mind if you decide to do it like us. And once again, in between every one of these parts is a seal, and once again, no air leaks. This here is a sound filter, and it's going to be held on by those J-bolts. They're pretty easy. This only thing is, you just need to hold it up there while you manipulate the bolts. It's not that big a deal. It can be finicky if you let it, but it's not that bad. You just put the drop-in silencer into your HEPA filter. This HEPA filter is a pretty good quality filter. It goes down to 0.03 microns. You just put those little clips together and put them on there. One has to clip over, one clips under, and you just tighten them up, and it's sealed in between. The same thing with the bottom. You're going to have those J-bolts we messed with before, and then you get your ground wire and hook it to one of those J-bolts, and it's grounded from there. I'm installing the dust sentry right now, and all it does is tell you when your barrel is full or getting full, and you can adjust it with that little screw I'm messing with there. It's real easy to adjust. You just move it one way for sensitive and one way for less sensitive. So I just put my hand in there and I moved it until I got the depth that I wanted, and then it's set. Now you need to hook your cyclone up to your barrel, and you do it with this big hose. These hose clamps that they send with it are like quick connects. You just slide it in there and you kind of get it close, and then you just turn the screw sideways and then start screwing it, and it'll have some traction on it. Way better than conventional hose clamps. You need to put your power control somewhere, and you also need to put your dust sentry light somewhere. This power control comes apart really easy. It's clear in the directions. Don't have it plugged in right now. And I just went ahead and self-tap screwed it right into this frame. And then with the dust sentry, I just went ahead and put it to where it faces all the machines in the shop, and just self-tap screwed it right there too. Pretty easy. They send a ground wire for you to ground it from the cone to the barrel. Self-tapping screws, pretty easy. Don't forget that.
Here's our electrical class for this dust collection video here. I'm not going to give you any electrical advice. If you don't know electricity, hire a professional. I'm safe in my shop. You be safe in your shop. This is about to get plugged in, and we're going to see how it sounds.
Everything having to do with the piping was still in these boxes. I had all the pipes, the bends, the connections, blast gates, everything in there. So I just kind of got them out there where they're nice and neat and we could account for them. I got the first thing that I needed to do was get that first drop. And the easiest way I found was to just do it with a Sawzall to get it started, and then do it with a jigsaw with a metal cutting blade. Worked pretty good. There's probably other ways to do it, but this is how we did it, and it worked. Every time we made a cut, I cleaned it up with a file, and then I'm going to show you this first run right here. You have your connectors that go in between here. I laid it on the ground flat so that it would be straight. These gripple things right here, you hang them from the ceiling, and they're like awesome zip ties, but way more awesome than a zip tie. And you just put it up there, that way you can put your pipe in there
and then just bring it up with the gripple, and then you're not having to sit there and hold everything. And you can see how much it helped us right here. Super cool thing to get. I would not leave these out of your cart if you're ordering one of these.
Yeah. Oh, look.
It's gonna,
Yeah.
like that.
Okay.
Does that look good?
Yeah, I think it does.
Right hand in it.
Yeah, like a glove.
Like a glove. Everything looks straight?
I think so.
Well, put the stuff on it, didn't I?
Yeah, you did.
Okay, you should be able to do
Yeah.
it. Woo! Here's the next run. I was so excited, got that first pipe up. So I'm going to show you how it just goes, pipe, fitting, a Y, and everything like that is mapped out in the instructions that Oneida sends us. And of course, we do have the plans, but I made a last minute decision to change where the CNC machine is. It didn't change any of the parts we needed, so it was good to go. I'll show you one last time how these gripples work. You just hang them from wherever you can hang them from. You can put a hook in the ceiling or whatever. I have these support beams going around, so I just hooked it around that. It held it for me. I put it in the other pipe, and then you just adjust it. It is super cool. I can't stress enough how much these gripples help me out. These particular drops that we're making right now are going over to a table, and we want to have it slanted over there. We want to walk around the table and not hit our heads on the dust collection. I mentioned our height already, so it might not be that big a deal, but I think it looks cool too. Over the years, I've done lots of dust collection videos, and most of them had Oneida products in them. It started years and years ago. I used a Super Dust Deputy to Frankenstein that single stage dust collector into a 2-stage. Then I started using a shop vac with the Dust Deputy, and later on the Dust Deputy 2.5. Just cleaning up the shop and hooking it up to individual tools with remotes and switches that come on with the machine, and I thought it was totally cool, and I made some videos on that stuff too. The latest thing they came out with was the Low Pro, and I love the thing. Obviously you've seen it at the beginning of the video that I have several of them. They are awesome, and I did some videos on that, and then me and Oneida decided to work with each other on this one. So I want to give Oneida a big thank you for helping out on this video. And speaking of helping out, they can definitely help you out on your duct work. They have a free professional design service, and you get it for free if you purchase through them. You go to here and you download the quote form. It's very easy to fill out. You put your contact, all that kind of information, and then you're going to go and put all your tools and what size ports and where they're at. You're going to draw a map like this right here. They're going to actually tell you what size of dust collector you're going to need, how big a pipe. Here's mine right here. That's my shop. That's the whole layout overhead. And then you go down to each individual drop, and it's going to tell you exactly what parts you need. These diagrams helped us out more than you would ever think. So what we would do is Jackie would read off what that branch would need. I would go get the parts and put them in front of where we would need to assemble them, and then we would start assembling them. I realized that not everybody has a big shop or needs this big of a system to run their dust collection. Oneida does have the things that we've talked about already. They have the Low Pro and the original Dust Deputy, the Dust Deputy 2.5 that you hook to a shop vac. They have all that. They also have machines that you can roll around your shop that can get it at the source. It's time to measure out the pipe going to the blast gates and put the blast gates on. Use silicone, go ahead and drill you a little hole, and then put your self-tapping screws in there, and then it's all going to seal up. And you do that because there's no way to tape that seam in there, so you put the silicone in there, pre-drill, put a screw in there, good to go. And then that gives you something for your hoses to go on to. Me and Jackie decided to do the top part first, and then do the drops, like the 45-degree angle drops, and then do all the blast gates. This is an incredibly big job. You see the fast motion going on here and everything, but it was like 4 days, 3 to 4 hours a day. Of course, me and her like to talk a lot, but we did work on this very hard, so we broke it down into smaller jobs so that we wouldn't get overwhelmed, and it worked out pretty good for us. It's time to tape our joints.
We're going to rinse and repeat that about 95 more times.
I always knew you should tape your joints, but I had no idea how bad it would hurt your airflow if you didn't. When I got to this point, and I went ahead and did a CFM test, and I was pretty disappointed, and I started looking around, and I started counting joints. I got about 95 joints in here that were not sealed. I went ahead and made a before and after taping video testing the CFM on that. I'll link it at the end of this video. These pipes are very well made, but as you can see right there, there was a bit of an air leak on there. So why take a chance? I went around and I siliconed every one of these 45-degree angles. Why not? I was pretty excited at this point right now. I was so close to being able to turn this thing on and test everything that I wanted to test. Make sure that you have a sharp knife when you're doing this, when you're cutting this pipe.
So you couldn't cut a fart.
This part couldn't be easier. Just cut your hose to the right length, put those cool hose clamps on there, tighten everything up, and then clip the end of the hose clamps off so you don't cut yourself later. The old dust collector had 524 CFM to the table saw. This meter goes out of limits at 600. It won't read past that. Look at the dust that the other dust collector left behind. This just sucks it right up. This miter saw had 380 CFM before, and now it just goes out of limits. It's amazing. The lathe is now the furthest machine away from the dust collector. It's about 60 feet, and it goes out of limits, and then there's plenty left, so this thing has plenty of airflow. The CNC used to be the furthest thing away, and now we moved it a little bit, but it used to have 345 CFM. Now it goes out of limits like nobody's business. Smart boost on this machine means it's going to change RPM according to what size blast gate you have open. See if you can hear it. The old 2 horsepower dust collector used to have 87 decibels. Let's see how this one does. I did open all the blast gates to all the machines in the shop just to see what kind of dust was left in the machines. And this is kind of deceiving because come to find out later, a lot of the dust went underneath that cardboard thing in there. So you probably ought to weight it down, I think. This looks absolutely fantastic, and more importantly than that, it's going to make the shop much safer with getting dust at the source. This pipe is spiral pipe, and the other pipe, the upgrade, is Nordfab pipe. It is more of an investment, but I can see where it would be more convenient, easier to put together. It's going to flow better. So in the comments, let me know what you would go with now that you've seen the spiral pipe. Most people use the Nordfab on these videos. I went with the spiral pipe. Let me know what your thoughts on that are in the comments. A big shout out to Jackie in the comments. She did such a great job coming in and helping me. Took time out of her schedule. Thank you, Jackie.
Thank you, Oneida, for teaming up with me on this one. This was an awesome project. I absolutely love it. And I did do another video on before and after taping the joints on the ductwork. It's going to be right over there. I will see you over there.